NFRA, and Mr. Yan Bo-jing from CSRC. They will brief you on the sci-tech financial policy that also take your questions. Now, first of all, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Qiu Yong for the introduction. Friends of the media, good afternoon. It's a great honor of mine to be able to come here with the colleagues from NFRA, CSRC, and SAFE. First of all, on behalf of MOST, I'd like to thank you for your long-term support of the sci-tech development in the country. As you know, recently, our Ministry of Science and Technology, together with PBOC and NFRA, CSRC, NDRC, Ministry of Finance, and the National Administration of Assets, in total 7 departments, have published the policy measures on accelerating sci-tech financial system and supporting high-level sci-tech independence. So first of all, I'd like to give you the briefing about the document entitled The Policy Measures, the Context, and also Major Content inside. As we know, financial assets, they're very important part in supporting the sci-tech development. Scientific innovation needs a lot of investment and financial resources. So in order to develop the sector, as well as the scientific industry and innovation, we have to boost the sci-tech financial policies. Since the 18th CBC Congress, the CBC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core have greatly supported the scientific innovation. During the third plenary session of the 20th CBC Congress, it is mentioned that we have to form a sci-tech financial system to finance major national programs on sci-tech innovation. The Central Economics Work Conference, as well as the National Conference on Sci-Tech Development organized last June, we have stated the importance of development of scientific and technological finance to guide them into long-term cycle of development and hardcore scientific programs. There are 4 major areas to attract the investors. In order to create this new chapter, we need synergy. This is not only an important task of the sector of scientific and technical development, but also that of finance. This recent document entitled as Policy Measures constitute an important measure adopted by the CPC Central Committee. And also it is to respond to the need of the demand of scientific development. We'd like to make new breakthroughs and also tackle systematic bottlenecks. During the elaboration of this document, we several ministries and departments have collaborated one with another very closely, and we have showcased the coordination to balance the supply side and the demand side in order to march forward together, hand in hand, and we have formed the regulation framework for sci-tech finance. We have built the basic structure. We have put the focus on investment, credit loans, capital markets, scientific insurances, as well as the bond market. In total, 7 different parts with 15 policy measures proposed. For the 15 policy measures, we have integrated the existing policies with modified versions and also some newly added new measures. It is really a very pragmatic document. More details for you to know. First of all, we have created the guidance foundation by the nation. We guide these investors to invest in the smaller creators in this area. We know that those medium and small enterprises, they are very important players in innovation. And this time, we have put the focus on the whole chain of development. We have proposed new measures. For example, expand the piloting programs coverage of the equity investment. And we also encourage the startups to get into the stock market. We also encourage the secondary capital market development. And also we have facilitated the entry and exit mechanism. We have also improved and reformed the evaluation system so that the innovators, they will showcase a higher level of patience. Secondly, we would like to make full use of systematic monetary policy. We give the guidance to institutions of financial development so that these institutions would be more voluntary to give financial support to enterprises. For example, the reloans with a better structure in place and with also the lower level of interest in the loans. We would like to help our financial sci-tech enterprises with more financial resources, and they will also get their own channels to have an access to these financial resources. There will also be different layers of designated financial institutions put into place. Our goal is to make it easier for the sci-tech enterprises to get funding and also to get financial support. For the M&A financing, we have the pilot program too. Considering the characteristics of this area, we will innovate the lending mechanism so that the loans could play a better role in serving the real needs of these sci-tech enterprises. Thirdly, capital market should continue to play a pillar role. And we also encourage the sci-tech enterprises to do direct financing. Capital market, as we know, is very important companion to allow those sci-tech enterprises to get listed in the stock market and also to make an exit. This time, we published a document entitled as the policy measures. They have showcased two highlights. First of all, is to improve the fast-track mechanism for the sci-tech enterprises to get financial resources. So the financial assets, resources in the market would play a better role in satisfying the needs of these enterprises. And second, first time in history, we have proposed the bond capital for the sci-tech enterprises. And fourthly, it's about the risk sharing and compensation. With the proposal of insurance products for the sci-tech enterprises, according to the policy measures, we have proposed measures to guarantee a healthy development of the sci-tech enterprises to cover the whole cycle of development and whole chain of development. Throughout their development course, we will be by their side to give them services. And for the insurance capital, they should be involved in supporting key national programs. The goal is to help the sci-tech enterprises to cope with new technologies and risks brought by new models of businesses. For the whole cycle of development, they can get insurance so that they can have sufficient support to build up their own development. Apart from the four major categories, In this document entitled as the policy measures, we have also talked about the guidance by the financial policies and the promotion of coordination between central government and local governments, as well as the creation of new ecosystems. We have proposed a basket of measures. Especially, we have made it clear that in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau Greater Bay Area should set up innovation center to become pilot cities and regions for the new sci-tech financial policies. For this document, co-published by 7 national authorities and departments and ministries, constitutes a basic policy document. MOST will continue to play a leading role among the national administrations to give a detailed spreadsheet of tasks division, and we will also work closely with the other national departments to make sure that these policy measures would be realized and applied in order to bring to us fruitful results. And we will try our best to improve the sci-tech financial system and make sure that these policy measures could deliver tangible results. That is all for my introduction presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cho. Now the floor is open for your questions. Before giving your questions, please first of all identify yourself. Thank you. First question, please. Thank you. With Xinhua News Agency. I've noticed that in this document entitled Policy Measures, we will create a sci-tech board. What is the current progress with this measure? Thank you for your question. Previously, Minister Cho has already mentioned this document, and with the 2 highlights. One of the 2 highlights is what you have mentioned in your question, the creation of the Scientific Innovation Board. And currently, the progress is very steady. And it has helped us to fix one important problem. For the attraction of capital, this is a very important measure together with PBOC, NFRA, etc. We have decided to continue to deliver service to the scientific innovation enterprises. Institutions of finance should also get their role demonstrated during this process. We will issue sci-tech bonds. And this time, we have made it clear that we will create the market transaction mechanism for the sci-tech bonds. For the issuing parties, it is possible for them to issue the bonds at a comfortable rhythm, and these issuing parties can decide on the articles about the reimbursements. And for the transaction fee, it's already been exempted. Evaluation and ranking agencies will also improve the rating methodologies. On the 7th of May, we have already made an official announcement, and for more details is yet to come. And previously, I've mentioned several players involved. For example, institutions of finance and also the investors, equity investors. Previously, Mr. Cho has also mentioned the equity investors are very important forces of financial investment into smaller entities of the market. Currently, these enterprises usually will be facing with some bottlenecks, for example, very short cycles of the financing and also very high cost of financing. So they have financing difficulties. That's why we have decided to innovate the risk-sharing mechanism, so people are more willing to buy the bond. We also have the direct guarantee system. We also work with local governments and local institutions of financial resources to fight against the default risks. And we will also issue longer-term sci-tech innovation bonds for the better ranking institutions and also higher ranking equity investors. We will give them more freedom and more possibility to issue more bonds. And this is one of our measures to solve the financing difficulties for the enterprises. What about the reaction from the markets? Currently, what we have witnessed is mostly positive reaction and response. We have also made an investigation to know that about 100 plus entities have already passed a bond of a total value of more than 250 billion RMB. And we will also go forward with the sci-tech innovation board. There will also be more following up measures to support a very healthy development of this new board. Thank you. With the sci-tech daily, we've noticed that in this year's government's work report, we have to improve the sci-tech financial system. Just now, Minister Cho, you have mentioned about the context. What is the consideration and what is the expected outcome of this measure? Thank you very much for your question. We know to develop the new productive forces, new quality productive forces is one of the important tasks for our country now. For the scientific research outcomes, we have to interpret them into real applications in the sectors. And it is necessary for us to involve different sectors, at least 3 parties. First of all, the side of investors, the side of scientific researchers, and lastly, the entrepreneurs. We need the collaboration of the 3 parties in order to promote the scientific industrial integration, so that finally the outcomes of scientific researches and developments would be translated into pragmatic results. That is why we are problem-oriented, and we have made significant key breakthroughs. And we have put the focus on the new problems in this sector so that we can support the application of key national programs of scientific innovation and also support the medium and smaller size of enterprises development. During the elaboration of this document, we have put the focus on the following 3 aspects. First of all, from the supply side and demand side, we have made equal efforts to promote scientific and financial collaboration, and they will meet each other halfway. And during the last period, we have put the focus mostly on the supply side. But this time, for the publication of the new document, we have also included the demand side. That is, by considering the real needs of the innovators of the scientific development side, we get to know the weak links and also the headaches they have. So we have this relayed system for financial support. We help them to tackle the problems, and we have also brought into full play the national foundation for the guidance of investment and also the foundation of social security investment. In order to strengthen the support, we have also provided structural tools, for example, monetary policy and the reloans, etc. We guide the financial institutions to give more support to the sci-tech companies and innovators. So we make equal efforts on both sides of demand and supply. Secondly, we stick to a systematic vision and also to release the potential of policies. Previously, among the national authorities, we have already published a series of policy measures with pragmatic results. And this time, for the publication of the new document, we have also taken in those existing policies while adding new highlights. It is very important to make sure that new and old policies could go hand in hand and they are in a very good match. Like that, we can release the benefits from the existing policy measures. For example, it is mentioned that the Central Enterprises Investment Foundation should be playing a very important role, and state-owned capital should be long-term capital and capital of patience in the investment markets. The PBOC has also stated that they will support the creation of the Board of Sci-tech Innovation, and NFRA will be supporting the piloting program regarding the IPR. In total, 4 piloting programs. So today we are going into depth with our policy measures and also work arrangements. This is the second aspect of consideration, systematic method and vision. Third and last, coordination of multiple parties and also to form a synergy. We know to develop sci-tech financial system, it's a very complicated process which requires the synergy of different players and different parties. According to the policy measures, we will coordinate central and local governments and also the financial regulators and sci-tech innovators. More specifically, we will engage different layers of administrations for synergy development, carry out experiments and pilot programs, and also use different financial tools, for example, the equity shares, the loans, bonds, etc. In the past, we used the budgetary perspective, but today it should be shifted towards the financial perspective. In a word, the adoption of these policy measures constitute our reforms to apply the instructions of the CPC Congress. And for the accomplishments and outcomes, first of all, we have created a long-term investment system. Via this policy measure document, we have improved the sci-tech financial system and the stimulation framework. Between the regulation side and sci-tech innovation, today there's a bridge of connection. We have multi-layered investment infrastructure in place. And we can use all these tools and infrastructures to guide endless investment resources to flow into the sci-tech innovation field. Second, we will arrange more financial resources to support national level key sci-tech innovation programs and also to facilitate the daily work of key enterprises of innovation. We should give more support financially to give a helping hand to these enterprises. And thirdly, with the application of the policy tools, we would like to make new breakthroughs in helping those medium and small-sized enterprises in coping with the difficult financing with the re-loan policies and refinancing. We will enrich the policy measures in place and also enrich the products of the insurance. So for the smaller and medium-sized enterprises, they will have a stronger sense of achievements and satisfaction. Especially, we will lower the cost of the financing and reduce the difficulty of financing for the small and medium enterprises. Of course, we are fully aware that once there's a policy, we need a certain period of time to put it into real actions and get it grounded in our practices. In order to get it better understood by the great public, we really need the help of the press to share the interpretation of the policy measures. Let's work together hand in hand to facilitate the execution and application of these policy measures. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. With the Hong Kong Economic Island, I have a question for CSRC. What are the measures and policy services to solve the financing problem for the enterprises? Thank you. In recent years, the CSRC has carried out reforms via the creation of sci-tech innovation board and startup board, etc., in order to solve the difficulties for the enterprises. Since 2024, we have published 8 articles on the sci-tech innovation board, as well as the guiding documents on other areas in order to improve the sci-tech financial system and create a better ecosystem. Like this, the innovation chain, the talent chain, and the industrial chain could be better coordinated and integrated. For the outcomes of the application, I'd like to share with you some details. First of all, for the issuance policies, it's more tolerant. First of all, considering the characteristics of these enterprises, we have streamlined the procedure for these enterprises to get listed in the stock market. For the red chip enterprises and some other enterprises, we have clarified the routes for the listing in the market. We have 5 different sets of enterprises, among which 5 sets of enterprises don't have to, first of all, meet the demand for the profitability before getting listed in the stock market. For the Beijing, Shanghai, and Hong Kong Stock Exchange, there are already a huge number of these enterprises getting listed. In 2024, in the bourse and Beijing Exchange, more than 90% of the newly listed enterprises, they are high-tech enterprises or strategically important enterprises. For the new energy and key equipment manufacturers, they have formed clusters in the stock market. For some representative enterprises in key technologies, they have also get themselves listed, and the M&A has become more activated. We have published 6 articles on M&A, so this has encouraged many enterprises to carry out M&A procedures. For the M&A enterprises in the stock exchange of Shanghai and Shenzhen, we have noticed 140 disclosures. Among these enterprises, strategically important enterprises with the M&A, they have made more than 650 units of disclosure of their assets. Some other enterprises, they have been reshaped and reorganized. All these examples could show that we have already applied our measures. Private equity firms, they have also given a helping hand to these enterprises. 90% of the listed enterprises in the Beijing Exchange and sci-tech innovation boards, they have received the financial support and investment from the private equity firms. These private equity firms' investment today represents a larger proportion, with a total investment of 4 trillion RMB. And finally, the bond market. Direct investment role played by this market has become more pronouncing. Today, it has become very important channel for the financing. For example, last year we have witnessed the issuance of 539 different bonds with a total collection of financial resources of 0.6 trillion RMB. Most of these bond-based financial supports have flown into the sci-tech areas. We have to build a healthy cycle in the sci-tech financial system. Next question, please. Thank you. With CNBC, I have 2 questions. First of all, what are the new measures of supporting enterprises to get listed overseas? Second, to support sci-tech innovation and prevent the abuse of financing, what measures have you adopted by CSRC? I would take this one. About the overseas listing of the enterprises, I will give you a brief explanation. CSRC will continue to support the utilization of the 2 resources of 2 markets by our enterprises. We have also brought into application since more than 2 years the new regulations about the overseas listing of the enterprises. As of end of April, we have registered more than 240 domestic enterprises listed overseas. Most of them work in new type of advanced manufacturing, medical information, as well as sci-tech development. We will continue to assist qualified enterprises to make full use of the 2 resources from 2 capital markets. In order to make sure these resources could be better used, we will also offer our services and policy measures. Second question is about the prevention of financial abuse. While supporting the development of enterprises, we have also attached great importance to the regulation of the capitals. For example, since long, we have already applied very strict requirements about information disclosure. For example, for the sci-tech innovation board, we have made it clear that the money collected should flow only into the sci-tech sector. And recently, in a document, it is mentioned clearly that the earmarked fund should only be used in the designated area. So this will guarantee the security of the money collected by the newly listed companies from the capital market. Next question, please. Thank you. From the 21st Century Economic Daily. For the banking and insurance agencies, they are a very important role in guaranteeing the financial development quality. What is the current progress and outcome of the measures? Thank you very much for your long-term support and attention attached to the work of NFRA. We have been applying the instructions of President Xi And we've been working on a financial system adapted to the needs of sci-tech. We have the system named 345 in order to guide more liquidity at a lower cost to flow into the sci-tech innovation area with a faster rhythm. For the 345 system, 3 means the 3 systems. First of a system of policies. As you can see, previously we have worked with PBOC, CSRC. We have published a basket of measures. For example, the policy measures on the whole cycle of life, etc., and the system of product supply. We know banking systems have already developed a system of services with loans plus external resources and services delivered to the customers. And this year, we have accumulated 17.7 trillion yuan of loans with an annual increase of 20%. And for the system of organization, we guided financial institutions to better their regulation system for the larger banks. Under the leadership of PBOC, at provincial level, they have created a designated department at subsidiaries. We have also created more than 2,000 of them. And previously, we have also mentioned the pilot program. This is to guide more capital of patients and long-term capital to assist the development of these enterprises. The piloting program has been extended from Shanghai to 18 provinces and cities. Currently, with the contract signed and with the intention explained, we have accumulated 380 billion RMB. For the first phase, it's 50 billion, and for the second phase, it's more than 120 billion yuan. And the third phase is 60 billion. In total, it's 222 billion RMB. And M&A loans. In the 18 piloting sites, it is allowed to do the 10-year pilot programs for M&A. In the M&A cases, in the past, the percentage of loans would touch the ceiling of 60%. Now it's up to 80%. We work with SCIO as well as with other departments to protect the IPR. And 5 means to bring into full play the advantages of 5 different types of entities. Direct in financing should be coordinated with the non-direct financing. Policy banks will continue to improve the quality of their services to serve the sci-tech innovation while offering long-term, low-interest capital and financing support, and that corresponds with their nature as a policy bank. In recent years, the loan accumulation has grown. The insurance products could cover the whole cycle of life of these enterprises. Regulation entities will start to invest in the 4 different areas, the long-term investments into the hardcore technologies. And we will also use our support to tackle the problems, for example, the high speed of upgrading of the equipments with CMG. Last year, MOST has published the point collection system about innovation. You have also adopted the other policy measures to accompany the application of this system. How can we make better use of this point collecting system to guide capital into this innovation area? Thank you very much for this question. As you have mentioned, we have already created and applied the point collection system. After its application, we have attracted a lot of attention from the society and also from financial sector and the small and medium-sized of sci-tech enterprises especially. In 2020, MOST has proposed the creation of this innovative policy tool called the point collection system. This is to designate projects to different enterprises. We have a systematic quota system with algorithm and data. We can evaluate the innovative capacity of enterprises and the performance of innovation of enterprises. We also do evaluation of the future potential of these enterprises. This is actually to do the profiling of these enterprises. What is the use of that? Is to help our financial institutions to better identify the most innovative sci-tech enterprises, to directly have a clear understanding of these enterprises and locate them. After hearing the suggestions and demands of the financial institutions, we have published a document of the guideline of application of the point collection system. We have 3 categories and 8 different areas for the collection of points. We have used the financial data that we are very familiar with in the financial sector. And in order to facilitate the collaboration between regulation sectors with the sci-tech sectors, and to facilitate the reloans and the guarantee plans, as of the end of last year, in 3 different groups, we have in total collected and registered information of more than 520,000 enterprises, among which 70,000 of them are qualified. We have proposed the information of these enterprises to national level institutions of financing. Currently, 7,000 enterprises have signed contracts with the banks, with a total value of the contract signed of 88 billion RMB. Today, in 33 municipalities and provinces of China, this system has been applied. With the total value guaranteed of 38 billion RMB, with 12.2 units of collaboration. In the same time, we also encourage local governments and local financial institutions to experiment on their best systems of the point collection system. For example, in Hubei province, we have elaborated an application methods on the creation of an evaluation of credit and reputation of enterprises based on this idea of point collection. This is wholly online service and purely based on the reputation and credit of the enterprises. Moving forward, we will continue to apply this point collection system, and mainly in the 3 following aspects. First of all, we will continue to improve the 18 key elements and quotas of this evaluation. so that we can do a more precise and detailed profiling of the enterprises. In key areas, we will apply a digital version of the point collection. For example, with high quality and accessible data, and also with the assistance of AI, we will upgrade our point collection system to present the version 2.0. Next, and we will expand the scenarios of application of this point collection system to do multi-layered evaluation and value-adding services. We will do a continuous point collection, and this will go hand in hand with the local government's policy, for example, reimbursement and sharing of risks. The enterprises, they can also use the collected points to do the loans. And third is the education of the public and also advertisements and sharing about best practices. Since the application of the system, there's a wide media coverage facilitating the application of this new system and practices. Moving forward with more practices accumulated and experience accumulated for the best practices, we will share them with more people so that sci-tech small and medium enterprises can get to know this new policy and they can also get involved and become part of that. We sincerely hope that our friends of the media present here will pay more attention to the system. Next question, please. Thank you. With the Phoenix Media. Moving forward, how NFRA would proceed with the regulation to guarantee a healthy development of the sci-tech financial system? Thank you very much for this question. Previously, as is mentioned by Minister Cho, our 7 national authorities have studied together new problems and new topics in the current stage to guide more financial resources into the sci-tech innovation, improve the services in the sci-tech financial system. Moving forward, NFRA will continue to work with other collaborators to strengthen 3 works and also see to the application of policy measures. First of all, it's the system building. We will guide the financial institutions to incorporate financial services into their national plan, and key tasks will be built. And they will build up a designated work framework. And they will also decentralize the power to subsidiaries for micro and small enterprises doing innovation in sci-tech field. Maybe you have noticed that yesterday we published a document entitled Measures Supporting Small and Micro Enterprises of Sci-Tech Innovation. We will establish a coordination mechanism to better support these sci-tech small and micro enterprises with more resources, financial resources pouring into these enterprises. We will also give them preferential policies. For example, we will do a differentiated regulation on these enterprises. Second, we will build sci-tech financial system. The banks will continue to make full use of the information collected from this point collection system mentioned previously by the Minister Cho, and we will do an evaluation for the liquidity recycling we allow a maximum 5 year of returning of this liquidity for the loans that is designated to these enterprises. We also have the insurance products to cover the loss of application of scientific research results into pragmatic products. Banking system and regulators will apply a differentiated policies, and they will also consider the investment of these enterprises in the recruitment of talents and application of new technologies. In key sectors, we will also apply the most advanced technologies and make it more digitalized. We should also collaborate with the third party to strengthen the risk-sharing system. We will also elaborate a designated plan for the guarantee. Some local governments have also created these insurance and guarantee companies. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. With China Securities Daily. In order to create a sci-tech financial system that can respond to the demand of the sci-tech sector, what are the measures proposed by PBOC? Thank you very much. In order to do a better job in assisting the application of national strategy of turning China into a country strong in sci-tech innovation, we have our responsibilities to apply the instructions of the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Congress and the National Conference on Scientific Development, as well as the Central Economic Works Conference. We have to create a sci-tech financial system adjusted to the needs of the sci-tech sector. In recent years, the PBOC, together with the other regulation authorities, as well as with Ministry of Science and Technologies, have adopted a lot of policies. Today, we have already finished the building up of basic framework and infrastructure of regulation. Previously, with CSRC and NFRA, they have shared with you key data. As of end of March, for sci-tech enterprises of small and medium enterprises have already applied for and received a loan of a total value of 3.3 trillion yuan. And for the highly advanced enterprises, they have also registered a 15% of annual growth of the loan. And thirdly, for financial institutions and banks, the loans regarding upgrading of equipments has surpassed 1.2 trillion RMB. And fourth, for the banking system, we have invested more than 1 trillion yuan into the sci-tech innovation enterprises. And we have more than 1,900 enterprises specialized in the advanced technologies. They have been listed in the A-share market. From all these examples and data, you can see that we, several authorities, have facilitated the healthy cycling of resources between the side of sci-tech innovation, industry, and banking system. And recently, we have also proposed even more policy measures, as is mentioned by Minister Chiu, in order to translate these policy measures into actions. For PBOC, we have to strengthen the issuance of loans. First of all, for the intensity, we have to make it stronger. PBOC has enlarged the re-loan from 500 billion to 800 billion. The interest rate has also dropped from 1.75 to 1.15. And today, we will also give more targeted financial support to these enterprises. So re-loan should be one important policy tool. And for the services, we should give more care to the users. We have to assist the sci-tech reform for the talent, for the product, and also for the risk evaluation of the risks. We have to enlarge the coverage of our services so that small and micro enterprises can have the access to high quality financial services. Another thing is about the sci-tech Innovation Board, one of the innovative measures adopted by our side. The equity investment capital should be guided into the long-term development area, and they should be transformed into the capital of patience. This is also one of the highlights of our innovation. Thirdly, we have to cultivate a new financial ecosystem. Banking system should get the tasks better divided among the regulators and financial system. For key scientific research programs at national levels, we should give more support. Today, enterprises working in sci-tech innovation, they are not only work in the domestic market, some of them are already going global. How can we give them a better help? We can start our piloting program so that more investors at home and abroad, they can share the benefits of the development in China. The point collecting system is already explained by Minister Qiu. We have to do the precise profiling of these enterprises. According to the Master Plan of Sci-Tech Development, in Beijing, Shanghai, and other areas and regions, in total 13 of them, they have to play a leading role in the pioneering program. At national level, regional level, the piloting zones should guide the application across the country. And we should also learn from the best practices and share these best practices across the country. We also would like to invite all of the friends of the media to support us more in the future. Next question, please. Thank you. With Economic Daily, in the policy measures, it is mentioned that we have to improve the practices of sci-tech innovation. What are the upcoming policies and actions? To Minister Qiu, in this document, we will carry out regional sci-tech innovation actions. At national level, we have sci-tech innovation centers. We have two categories of them. First of all, it's international level centers in Beijing, Shanghai, and Hong Kong, Macau, Guangdong, Greater Bay Area. Second category is regional innovation center. We have already selected 3 of them in Chengdu, Chongqing, and Xi'an in regional level and international level. We have these centers to support the application of national strategy. Sci-tech financial system is very important part of the building up of these innovation center. Last year, together with PBOC, we have published a notice on the support to these innovation centers. In 13 key areas, we will carry out the pilot program of these innovation centers. Moving forward, we will continue to collaborate with these banking systems and the financial sectors to have the synergy, more specifically in 3 areas. First of all, at regional level, we have to, first of all, pick out the focus. We have to make the focus and key areas clear in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong Greater Bay Area, in Wuhan, Xi'an, and Chengdu, Chongqing. These 3 regional level centers, they will get the clusters of financial resources. They will be the first pioneers to break the bottlenecks, especially in the market economy. While respecting the legislations, they will make new trials and make experiments to find their own ways among the sci-tech financial policies and build up their own models. At regional level, they should get their priorities correct. And for the operation, they should deliver the characteristics. This year, we work with the financial regulation authorities to carry out a campaign of financial development of the policies. We encourage local governments to make their own ambitions and also build up their own best practices. Because we think at local level, people could pull together their wisdom and find out the best practices and models. Local governments should work closely with financial regulating agencies to build up a collaboration mechanism of financial support to support the sci-tech. And we should also make alignments of resources, the match of resources, and create the whitelist of enterprises so that different types of sci-tech innovation entities could make full use of the existing policies. Next question, please. Thank you. With the Securities Daily, we've noticed some follow-up practices and measures. How can you make sure that these measures are fully applied? It's not enough for us to have the policy measures. It's also important to have some follow-up policies in company. Moving forward, we will continue to make hard efforts in improving the ecosystem. First of all, we have to facilitate the coordination between the enterprises and the banking system. For small and micro enterprises, they will be more incorporated into this point collection system. For this purpose, we will continue to expand the application of this collection system so that we can do a better job in profiling these enterprises. And we will also guide more capital and assets into the sci-tech innovation system. And for the key sci-tech innovation system at national level, we have point-to-point mechanism. And we will guide these entities in this sci-tech innovation sector to gather together their information. So we have 2 aspects. First of all, for the smaller entities, we will make full use of this point collecting system. And for these major programs of innovation, we will have the point-to-point designated system. PBOC will work with MOST to better share our information with localities. And we will also make full use of the information collection system for credit at local level and collect other data. And also we will expand the approval of utilization of the data. Only with the platform of credit is not enough. We also need other support, for example, from the public information platforms of local governments and also information coming from the side of MOST. And thirdly, because smaller enterprises, they bring a higher level of risk. So we need to strengthen the reimbursement for the smaller sci-tech enterprises. We have to work with the financial administrations to make full use of the loan granting system, and the government should also give a guarantee for the loans. Multiple parties should come together to share the risks so that banking system and financial institutions will be more tolerant in granting the loans. Bond credit will be used in these practices. The last two questions. For the capital market, they have a very important function in supporting the sci-tech innovation. What is the next step of policy measures? You have mentioned the role and function of the capital market. Indeed, we have to admit that the capital market can play a very important role in accelerating the application of scientific research results into real products and application, and also in distributing the resources. For CSRC, we will support the new quality productive forces. We have also elaborated policy measures. I'd like to share with you some of them in details. First of all, we will urge them to respect a healthy rhythm in the issuance of shares. We will continue to carry out reforms on the listing of enterprises on the sci-tech Innovation Board and Startup Board. And we will also make full use of the piloting program. We support the qualified red chip enterprises to do the listing. Different boards should come together to support the sci-tech innovation enterprises. And different boards, they are mutually complementary. And the hardcore technologies should be a key area for investment. The Beijing Exchange will become a highland for the support of smaller size of enterprises. Now we can cover enterprises at different stages of development. For the support of development of hardcore technologies, we will better identify, select the qualified enterprises. For enterprises that have already made important breakthroughs in their researches, they will also benefit from preferential policies. We will use our investments to support those enterprises that have an ambition to go listed but not yet made the profit. And for the merger and acquisition, we will continue to apply the 6 articles about the M&A, support the listed enterprises to do scientific innovation and upgrading of their business. We guide more production elements to get poured and concentrated in the new quality productive forces. A revertible loans, liquidity, as well as the bond should all be used. And we can select more demonstration cases. In cultivating the long-term capital and capital of patience, we encourage the private equity funds to play their role, and we improve the reversed coupling with the private equity fund. We will enlarge the distribution of physical shares by this fund to the investors. We invite more long-term capital into the market so that we can have long-term investments. And finally, the bond market should also play an important role in supporting the sci-tech innovation. We will reshape the market of bonds so we can issue the green bond, startup bond, etc. These bonds would be used to support the highly strategic enterprises and highly advanced technological enterprises. We also encourage relevant platforms to give the credit evaluation services regarding the highly qualified enterprises. Last question. Thank you. With Daily Economic Daily, policy measures have proposed the role of insurance products. For NFRA, what is your policy measure about the insurance, and what is the next stage of development? Financial insurance is very important. It's like the shock reducer and also stabilizer. Since long time, we have done 3 types of work. First of all, reimbursement. We worked with the other ministries to guarantee the first set with a better fee rate. And we have offered the risk guarantee of more than 1 trillion RMB. The insurance fund investing in the non-listed sectors and companies, they can also have a readjusted risk factor. Sci-tech insurance risk factor will also be readjusted. It sounds very professional and complicated. In an easier way, it means we have given preferential policies to unleash the potential of these insurance entities to enter into the market. And for key breakthroughs, we will carry out the pilot programs. We work with relevant administrations to support the integrated circuit and in the aerospace development. As of the end of last year, insurance sector throughout the year has offered sci-tech insurance value of 9 trillion RMB. They have invested in more than 6,000 sci-tech innovation enterprises. Those are applied measures and some existing and upcoming policies. We have 3 more of them. Last month, we have published insurance investments into the non-listed companies in their equity. When they invest in the sci-tech related enterprises. Last month, we also reshaped the proportion of regulation. Today, the insurance fund could give a higher proportion of their assets into the sci-tech innovation sector. And third, we work with MOST to develop a document to support long-term healthy development of sci-tech sector, to guide the sci-tech financial system to do a better job in risk reduction, leverage of liquidity, as well as the sharing of the risk. Thank you very much for your questions and participation. That is all for today's press conference. Thank you.